Thank you, Adam. Right, can I welcome you to this meeting of Crieff Common Good Fund on Monday, the 5th of May, 2025. I'm conscious we have Perth Common Good Fund later, but there are 3 applications for financial assistance, which we'll get to in a minute, and I think there are going to be 1 or 2 questions, but let us see. First of all, can I ask, are there any apologies?
Thanks, Convener. Yeah, we've had apologies this afternoon from Councillors Kogali and Councillor Ling.
Okay, and I know Councillor Ling is caught up with a variety of other meetings today. Secondly, any declarations of interest? They're being done, then there are none. Third, the minutes of the last meeting of the Common Good Fund, which I also chaired on Monday 25th of November 2024. These are fair and accurate record of the discussions that we had. Any matters arising?
Agreed.
Okay, then those minutes are agreed. We now move on to the applications for financial assistance. The rules are with Crieff Common Good Fund, the maximum application is can be for £500. We don't have quite the funding that Austrada does, as we saw just a few minutes ago. And on this occasion, we got 3 applications, each for £500. So I'm going to turn to the first of these, and can I ask Sarah, would you want to speak in general and then specifically on the first application?
Thank you. Good afternoon, councillors. The financial assistance report concerns 3 applications to the Crieff Common Good Fund requesting a total of £1,500. The first application is from the Royal Voluntary Service, who are seeking a £500 contribution towards costs associated with running their new community minibus to support local elderly residents to attend various events and appointments.
Thank you, Sarah. Right, the Royal Voluntary Service is for £500. I would also point out that there is a very similar application to Perth Common Good Fund coming up in a little while with virtually all the same criteria, but they're asking not for £500 but for £5,000. I do have to say I have 1 or 2 questions. I even wonder whether we look to defer to get more information until the next meeting, Common Good Fund, on the 18th of August, but let us see. But I'm going to turn first of all to Bailey Brock, and Rona, I know you wish to make some comments.
Thank you, Convener. Yeah, I see the applications come in, and also along that they've made an application to the Perth Common Good. There's quite a few queries I have on this paper. I would like to ask on the MIDAS training. It's 1,250, but before we do that, could I ask that it's saying it covers a council-run sheltered housing complex in Crieff, and I'd be interested to know what complex that is, because I believe that we also use a local community bus in the area, so I would be interested to know just exactly what it covers on that one. That was one of my first questions. I don't know if you want me to go through all my questions or take them one by one.
Please do, and I may follow up with 1 or 2 things myself.
So also, you know, it's partly covers Crieff, it says, but it's also covering the Perth area. But I'd be interested to know just exactly what other areas are covered in Perth and Kinross. If it's just going to be Crieff and Perth, seeing that it looks as though it's the only 2 common good committees that they've actually made an application for funding from. So if they can come back and let me know if it's just Crieff and Perth that they're going to cover in no other area in Perth and Kinross, that would be helpful. One of the other questions I'm asking is mechanical servicing of £2,000, and but what I believed, I would have thought that the minibus came with all its service on it, so I would like a wee bit more information on that. Also looking at the quote for other running costs of £5,000, if they could give a bit more explanation on what the other running costs are, because we've already got it covered on here for mechanical servicing and for insurance. So if that is the running cost for the vehicle, I just wonder what else is outstanding on that that's going to cover for the running cost. I think my last one on that is the calculation on the figures, because it would appear we're £250 out on that one. My calculations, it comes to 10,250. It's got private donor of 5,000 and Perth Common Good of 500, and they're looking for 500 from us, which comes to 10,500, and the figure we have is 10,250. So if we could find out with other 250 what that's for. Okay, I'll finish at that one at the moment. Maybe Councillor Donaldson may have some. Thank you.
I don't think there's much more to add there. The MIDAS training is carried out, I understand, it both at Rarton and at Letham. I'm not sure if there's any cost involved at those two locations with MIDAS training, but I take the point, 100 stated here, 1,000 stated with Perth, a number of other questions clearly on the application. I think some of those will come out with the Perth Common Good Fund meeting. My own view is at the moment is not to approve, but to defer. And one doesn't dispute, the very good work RVS do for the community in general. So I don't want to seem, we're being problematic here, but I just think there's too many questions, even if it has to be deferred to the Common Good Fund meetings in August. I'd like to see what Perth Common Good Fund themselves decide, but I do think there's several questions here that need answered, and not just by a quick email to get coverage on 1 or 2 points. I think it is a bit more substantive. So I'm not sure if Bailey Broad would agree with me that what we do at the moment is defer, and we do not approve at this stage. Would you agree?
Convener, I'd be happy to agree on that we defer this application till we get further information on it.
It's not kicking the can down the road. It's just, I think, compared to some council expenditure items and common good items, it's not a huge amount, but we've got a duty to follow the public pound, and we're just not clear on certain aspects of this. I think that may apply with Perth. The second application, Strathern Art for Experience. Sarah, do you want to say a few?
Thank you. Strathern Art for Experience are a peer support group for people working on their mental health recovery. They're seeking £500 contribution towards their next art project.
Billy Rock, do you wish to make any comments? I have 1 or 2 myself, but
Quite happy to make a few comments if that's okay.
far away.
I think this is a good application, and I think it would have been good to get a bit more information on this, but I think we've actually probably got enough. I've carried out some myself. This is a tree that's over 600 years old at the moment. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any information board beside it. I pass it most days. So that would be something that I would be keen to see, but it's not in this application, but it's fine. But one of the ones that I would like to know is roughly what size would this tapestry be? It doesn't quite say. Maybe the group don't know at the moment what size it would be either, but would it be accommodated in the Crieff Museum or within Crieff itself is where I would like to know whether that would be. I think it would be good to keep it within the Crieff area, seeing it's referring to Epicalamus tree. That is really the only questions that I have at the moment. It's really just where it's going to be located and the size. If it can't be the museum, it may well be the campus. It would be just so we have it on display.
Thank you, Bailey Rock. Sarah?
I certainly don't know the size of the tapestry. It's not a question that I've asked. I can ask the group that. And the group mentioned that they would donate the tapestry to Crieff Museum, but whether or not they've confirmed that with Crieff Museum and made an agreement already, I don't know, so I can follow that up.
I should add, I don't think I needed to declare an interest. I'm a trustee of Crieff and Stratharn Museum Group. Indeed, we have our AGM tomorrow. But yeah, I think that would be helpful to know. It's just size of tapestry. And if it can't fit into the museum, I don't imagine it's going to be a huge piece of work. But certainly, you know, if it's not there somewhere such as the campus or, you know, one or two other potential locations in Crieff, it should stay within Crieff. But yes, I think it's a good project. I take the point about the indicator board, but I think that could be potential for other funding. I'm thinking perhaps funds such as the Heritage, Cross Heritage Trust, perhaps, and maybe other sources. And I would reckon that probably the cost of that might be of the order of 300-400. But I don't think that should block this application. I think we agree it, and we if we can get some kind of feedback, but that we go ahead with it from the 500 we award. Yep.
I'm happy. I'm content to award the £500. And obviously it's another group that might want to look at the information board. Seen one group's already taken an interest on that very valuable tree, which has got a tree order on it. And it was, sorry, granted in 1999. Okay.
Okay, we've agreed on that, and the tree itself is just along from what we hope will be the McCrosty Link, the new All Abilities footpath from Turret Bank up to Lady Mary's Walk. The final application is from Stratharn Arts, and that's for their Reverb Studio Group, and that again is for £500. Sarah?
Yeah, the final application is from Stratharn Arts, who are seeking £500 towards a trip for their Reverb Studio Group, which is a project for local youth to be able to freely express themselves through arts.
Bailey Brock, whereas the previous application, it did involve travel to Stirling Castle. I think there it's because for the tapestry, and we don't have similar artifacts to the same degree in Perth. But you know, here a major part of the application is for entrance fees to a gallery in either Glasgow or Dundee, and I do wonder here very much whether they have looked at not perhaps even so much Perth Museum, but certainly Perth Art Gallery. But Billy Brock.
Yes, convener, that was one of the queries that I did have, that why we would be travelling to Glasgow or Dundee if we had a venue of our own that they could visit to have a look and look at this from that group. So it was something that I'd be keen to ask them to look at, that they maybe use within our own area as well, and go to get a bit more information on that if that's possible.
Okay, I think that would be helpful, Sarah. What I'm conscious of is they have previously received funding from Ganachie Trust, and often that is a good sign with an application. However, I do have reservations here. Billy Brock.
I don't think I've got anything else to add, convener. I know the group operates from November to February for what I can pick up. But as I say, I still would like them to look at, you know, visiting somewhere within Perth and Kinross, so that, you know, we're actually putting that back into our own economy rather than sending them to Glasgow or Dundee, if that's possible.
What I'm going to say is And it may be, we could always bring in Councillor Kugali. I've not had any input from Councillor Kugali on any of the three applications, but we do not approve this application at this point, but we wait to hear back from them. We can always agree things online if that is necessary, but certainly I do, it's £300 entrance fees for gallery or exhibition, and I think we have those facilities here, I'd have thought, in Perth and Kinross. So I'm saying we don't approve at this point, but we could potentially approve, but it's going to be because there's not going to be entrance fees. So I think it would be a much smaller grant application. But let Bailey Brock.
No, I'd be content to take that decision, convener, because I feel that we really do. That would be could be a cost implication there that we could make a saving if we had to.
Okay, I'm conscious of the nature of the project and the young people involved, but I think it is right. I think it's proper, and so we will take that decision, and we hopefully will hear back from the applicant. That is as far as we've got in terms of actual applications for financial assistance. Now move on to Alison McInnes and also Fiona Lambie on the financial statements. Alison.
Thank you, Convener. Appendix 1 to this report provides the final position for 24-25 with a final balance of £15,926, which was slightly higher than budget due mainly to the underspend on financial assistance of approximately £500 during the year. Appendix 2 presents the 25-26 budget for approval with financial assistance of £1,500, income of £2,100, resulting in a net surplus of £600. There is no current variance to the budget in the current financial year. Happy to take any questions.
Billy Brock, no. I have no questions. So can we agree the financial statements?
Agreed.
Agreed. Okay, that nearly concludes the business, but is there any other items? I'd just ask Bill.
There's nothing else on the items, convener, but I would like to make a comment if that's possible.
Yes.
Thank you. The comment I would like to make is, there are so many groups out there looking for funding. And at one time we used to do what was called a funding alert paper, which went out to groups. And I think this would be beneficial because it hasn't been in circulation for some time now. But I think it would be beneficial if it was able to be brought back in. And that would then allow the groups to be able to know what funding they could apply to. It was a very useful tool in its previously. And I think it may well save time on officers and ourselves if that was available for groups to go in and have a look and see what funding was available that we had. Okay, thanks.
And I would just add, thank you, Bailey Brock. The Rona, what you say, in fact, I pushed for, we'd not issued a funding alert for a long period of time until November of last year. I think it's a useful publication. I think it can help, especially if groups in less advantaged areas can work with community learning and development, but they can actually see what the funds are out there and would be useful. So I will follow that up and ask what the position is. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I close this meeting, Crieff Common Good Fund, and with Perth Common Good Fund to follow. Thank you.